Canada to a very ecologically unsound technique called the tar sands, essentially getting oil from gravel and mud. And talk about the transformation of Canada now, how this has been turned around because of Mexico's collapse. Now they're looking at Canada. What's happening in Canada?
Well, Canada has been on a steady, increase with their production from the tar sands. And the tar sands are simply, bitumen or bitumen, as it's called, is simply a substance that has to be melted out of the sand in order to get to the next stage of oil refining, which is basically cooking a liquid oil. But this stuff is just a gummy mass, and you have to separate it from the sand. It's very expensive. It introduces another layer of expense of a mining operation on top of an oil recovery and refining operation.
And a lot of water as well, correct?
And a huge amount of water.
Which is also in decline.
They turn it into steam to wash the tar out of the sand, and then it goes back into the Canadian watershed. And it's very destructive. It's full of heavy metals. It's full of toxins. But, the essence of this problem may turn out to be much different. Canada has, in fact, been our #1 source of oil imports for quite a while. We get a lot of oil from them. The tar sands are unlikely to ever produce more than 3 million barrels a day. And we use, between 18 and 20, depending on, which month to look at. I think that there's a really strange hidden problem there we're going to encounter. There's something in America called the Monroe Doctrine. It was formulated in the early 19th century, and it was during the President Monroe administration. And it basically said that nations outside the Western Hemisphere are not allowed to meddle in the affairs of the Western Hemisphere. And at the time, it was a way of keeping, England and France and Spain at bay. I think what you're going to see is that China has created a lot of contracts, favored customer contracts with Canada for the tar sand oil. And I think what you're going to see is that the United States is going to turn around and say, Canada, I don't think that we're going to have to cancel these contracts with China because we need the oil, because we're not getting enough from Mexico anymore, and we're not getting enough from the Middle East anymore and elsewhere. So just write off those Chinese contracts because the oil's coming to us.
Okay, so the Monroe Doctrine precludes Canada, Western Hemisphere, doing business with China.
No, it doesn't preclude it, but it could be invoked in the service of that.
Okay,
it's a very general doctrine. It's like the Carter's Middle East doctrine, but you could very easily see a pretty hardcore American administration in a situation of desperation in America,
right,
where people have no fuel and they're freezing in their homes or they can't get anywhere, and you can't even move the groceries into the supermarkets. You could see something happen like we're going to need that oil from Canada, all of it.